Most businesses, they just have a lack of attention. You don't have enough awareness. There's so many channels today. There's email, there's social. We're just getting blasted with notifications. And so I really want you guys to take away the purpose of sending email is to stay in front of your prospects. They're busy, they get blasted with lots of information, and we need to keep your business in front of them because the marketing process before they actually get into the sales process is very, very long. All right, so let's dig in. Let's start with strategy. Now, a lot of people that I talk to, they push back and they say, well, I don't want to send a bunch of email because I don't want to annoy my prospects. I don't want to annoy my customers. And my response is always, you have to send email because reason number one is you want to stay top of mind. Now, most small businesses, their biggest challenge is just a lack of attention. And so that's why email is a great tool to stay in front of them because it's cheap, you've got their email address, and you can deliver some value to them, and now you're staying top of mind. So the second reason, I'm gonna hit on it again, stay top of mind. Most businesses, they just have a lack of attention. You don't have enough awareness. There's so many channels today. There's email, there's social. We're just getting blasted with notifications. And so I really want you guys to take away the purpose of sending email is to stay in front of your prospects. They're busy, they get blasted with lots of information, and we need to keep your business in front of them because the marketing process before they actually get into the sales process is very long. People think about their remodeling projects for months and months and often years. And so you need an effective way to stay in front of that person as they're looking up design trends and ideas and cost information and how long is this going to take. And so email is kind of the path there. Let's talk about style next. What kind of style should these emails be? I'll start out with the first thing, and that is try to add as much value as possible and be less annoying. The key here is that if we're going to be sending email on a regular basis, we don't want to spam people and we don't want to be in their face trying to just push meetings all the time or push kind of a salesy message. What we want to do is deliver educational content and drive value for their research process. Like I said a minute ago, the process in terms of marketing is really long. It's months and months, if not years, while they're doing research, kind of gathering information. And so we want to be that trusted advisor for them, delivering value. The other thing that I've found is really powerful in terms of using email is to be relatable and be personal. I like to write most of my emails as one-to-one emails. So those will look like I'm just typing up an email to a friend, to a colleague. There's not a lot of design, heavy graphics going on. The whole template really just looks like a regular old email. And the reason for doing this is when somebody gets that email, it actually feels like you're writing just to them, even though you could be sending it to hundreds or thousands of prospects and leads in your database. And so what you do by writing in this one-to-one style is you start to build a little bit of a relationship with that audience. You're writing an email, they're getting it, it feels like you're writing just to them, and you're linking to a blog article, or maybe you're linking to a project portfolio page. And so now they feel like they're building a little bit of a connection with you, and you can even include personal anecdotes in these emails. You know, maybe drop in a line or two about what you did over the weekend, and then tie it into maybe the project that you're sharing or the blog post that you're sharing. And so now you're actually being a little bit vulnerable by giving them some information, and you'll start to actually get personal replies to these emails. Hey, thanks for sharing this. Hey, thanks for passing it along. And now you know you're actually not only getting seen, but people are engaging with you and they're responding. So when they're actually in a position to do business with somebody and execute on a remodeling project, they are way more likely to reach out to your company. All right, so next thing is let's talk about the different types of emails. So there's really three big buckets that I want to talk about. The first is an automatic follow-up message. This is a super simple type of email. Basically, anytime somebody on your website fills out a form, you want to have an automated email that goes out to that person. I don't care if you have a success page at the end of that. You know, say they go to your contact us page, they fill out the form, and then it just replaces the form or takes them to another page that says, hey, thanks, we'll be in touch soon. Also add a automated follow-up email. This starts to train your audience that they're going to get emails from you, and you can include lots of good additional information in that follow-up. So as an example, let's say they fill out that contact us page. The follow-up could be, hey, thanks so much for contacting us. I'm so glad you reached out. We'll be back to you within 24 hours or whatever the time frame is. Hey, and while you're waiting, I encourage you to check out these 3 projects. This one won an award, this one won an award, and then this is a personal favorite of mine. Oh, and you also might like these 2 blog posts. That's a really personal email, and it comes across as adding a lot of value, helping this person, and that's a great way to maximize basically any form that somebody fills out. So that's style number 1. The second style is kind of your regular program emails. This typically looks like a monthly newsletter, something like that. So I recommend that you at least have a newsletter, but you can start out that newsletter with kind of that personal style format where maybe you have a little bit of a paragraph at the beginning of the email that is a welcome to this month's news kind of a section, and that's where you share maybe the personal anecdotes. You can kind of give a summary of what's going to be below in that email. So maybe it's a blog post, an award you won, and a new project and some new photos that you've got. So that would be kind of a regular program email. Within this bucket of regular emails, you're also going to be able to do things like send out emails for events. It could be a webinar, a seminar, maybe you're doing a trade show and you have something going on. So those types of emails are great. We call them email blasts or just one-off emails, and you have a specific purpose for those. Really, the 2 kind of buckets within this regular program are going to be the newsletter like we talked about, and then what I would call a driving traffic bucket. So that would be things like driving to an event. It could be driving to a blog post. Maybe you wrote a blog post and you're trying to get more traffic to that to see if you can boost that post in the rankings. That's a great, excuse to send an email and say, hey, we just wrote about how long it takes to remodel a kitchen. Thought you might be interested. Click here. That can drive a bunch of traffic to that blog post. Now that blog post can start to rank. So within that regular program, you've got kind of your newsletter style and then your email blast style where you're just staying in touch and adding value. And then some emails you're trying to drive traffic. Now the last type of email is what we call automated nurturing emails. So that's going to be where somebody takes some type of action on your website. So maybe they fill out a form and download an ebook or a guide, and now we want to deliver a specific set of emails over a specific time frame to somebody that downloaded something. So that would be, hey, they download your kitchen design guide off your website. Now over the next 2 weeks, they're going to get 5 automated emails, and we've pre-designed the content. So maybe email 1 is, hey, thanks for downloading our guide. Thought you might also want to check out these 3 projects and maybe this blog post on kitchens. Email 2 is going to be similar. Email 3 is going to be similar. You're basically adding value, but you're keeping the content fairly focused around kitchens because they downloaded something on kitchens. So good rule of thumb is with automated email, you have the power to be more personalized and more specific based on the action that they took on your website. Then by the latter part of that email thread, I like to start making a push towards what you would call your bottom of the funnel conversion point. So that could be booking a meeting, scheduling a consultation, or it could be coming into a showroom if you've got one. So those types of actions I leave for later in the nurturing series because I want to build value and trust first. So the first 3 emails right out of the gates, I'm pushing hard on adding value, helping educate them, delivering good information, and then I'll start to push a little bit harder on, hey, if you want to talk about your project, you can always reach us here, book a quick meeting, give us a call, or come into our showroom, something like that. And so you can make that push in email 4 and 5, and then I like to kind of back off, and then they'll just go into your regular email program where they're getting, at least that newsletter every month and maybe the occasional email blast. So those are the 3 types of emails you should be sending. The next question I always get is, how often should I be sending email? Now, the answer might surprise you. It's as often as you can. Now, I'll kind of explain that. So if you can send an email every single day, I would do it. And the reason is you continue to build brand and you stay top of mind. However, the challenge is sending an email every day and adding value so people don't want to unsubscribe is pretty difficult. So chances are you're not going to be sending an email every day. I would recommend staying in that kind of 2 to 4 per month. And if you can increase it over time, then I would do that. But I know for most of you, probably sending 1 a month sounds like a lot. And so asking for 2 to 4 is probably even more than you were hoping for. So we're going to start there as my initial recommendation. You know, every 2 weeks is great. You have a newsletter that goes out, and then you have an email blast that goes out. And then again, I encourage you, as your list grows, I would encourage you to send more email because it becomes more and more cost effective as a marketing tool. Because say you've got a database of 4,000 people or 8,000 people, the more times you're touching them, the more times you're in front of them, the more opportunities you're going to create for yourself in the sales funnel. What should we expect in terms of results from email marketing? Now, the first one is brand awareness. You're going to have so much more brand equity that you're building up by sending regular email. Most people, most companies in the remodeling space, they're only sending like a quarterly newsletter or no email at all. It's often I hear from somebody, oh yeah, I've got a past customer database of hundreds of people or even dozens of people, and these are great customers that you've worked with in the past, and you never reach out to them. Most of them, unfortunately, they'll forget about you if they come back to do a repeat project. Some will remember, but most of them, they'll go, oh, who did we work with or who did we use? And so having them in your regular program is huge. That's really the second piece, is you will pick up business, especially if you haven't been sending regular email and you start to send email. You'll suddenly find yourself getting replies and people will say, oh, I'm glad you sent me this email. I've been thinking about this project. Can we book a meeting? And you're going, well, why didn't you just reach out? And this happens all the time when we start up with somebody and we start sending email and they haven't sent email in years. Suddenly people are actually glad to hear from them, and it reminds them of the project they wanted to do. The other thing is this will generate meetings for you. You know, you'll get people that come to your website, they'll download ebooks or guides or different resources, they'll get on your newsletter list, and then all of a sudden, 4 months later, they'll book a meeting. And you go, huh. And it won't always be obvious why they booked the meeting, but if you look back at their activity, you can often see they entered the website, they took an action, and then between there and booking the meeting, all that's happened is that they've been getting your email. And so you'll see they clicked an email, they opened another, they clicked one, and then suddenly they book a meeting and it's 4 or 6 months down the road. That's a really powerful thing. So that's the scoop on email. That's what I've got for you today. I encourage you, as a big takeaway from today, 2 things that I'll leave you with. Send regular email, so aim for at least 2 emails a month, and then write in a personal one-to-one style so that you can actually build a connection with your audience. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time on Builder Funnel TV.